As the last sliver of sun dips below the horizon, I'm perched here on my porch, watching the golden light stretch long, lazy shadows across our little suburban haven. The air carries the sweet whisper of jasmine, a scent woven into the very fabric of this place. Harrison and I planted that garden decades ago, back when our hands were steadier and our dreams felt as endless as the summer days. I'm Leona, 68 years young, and there's a warmth in my chest as I sit here, reflecting on a life built brick by brick, story by story. My voice might carry the weight of years, but it's still got a spark of pride, a quiet glow for all that I've seen and loved. I've always been a collector of tales, you see. As a retired librarian, I spent my days surrounded by books, their pages whispering secrets of far-off lands and forgotten lives. But the stories I cherish most are the ones I've lived, the ones etched into the lines of my face and the rhythm of my days. And at the heart of those stories is Harrison, my husband of 43 years. A former history professor, he's got a mind as sharp as a tack and a wit that can cut through any somber moment. But beneath that quick tongue is a heart so gentle it could mend a broken world. I can still picture him now, pacing our living room with a book in hand, his graying hair catching the lamplight as he spins some obscure fact into a tale that keeps me hanging on every word. Then there's Kieran, an old friend of his from way back. A quiet man with a kind smile. I've only met him a handful of times over the years, but there's a steadiness to him, a sort of unspoken history with Harrison that I've never quite unraveled. Our marriage, Harrison's and mine, isn't the stuff of fairy tales. It's not perfect, not by a long shot, but it's real, deeply, stubbornly honest. We've spent countless nights talking until the stars fade, our voices weaving through everything from philosophy to the mundane quirks of daily life. We've traveled to places most folks wouldn't think to go, tiny villages tucked away in forgotten corners of the world, where the history Harrison loves so much feels alive in the stones underfoot. And yes, we argue. Oh, do we argue. But there's a strange beauty in it, a dance of passion and respect, because no matter how heated it gets, there's an unshakable trust holding us steady. That trust, it's the bedrock of everything we are. Just last week, we were right here on this porch, the evening wrapping around us like a soft blanket. We had mugs of chamomile tea steaming in our hands, the kind Harrison always brews too strong, but I drink anyway. He was going on about some historical event he'd been reading up on, something about the ethics of a long-ago war, and I couldn't help but challenge him on a point or two. His eyes lit up with that familiar fire as we bantered back and forth. But tonight, I'm not on the porch. I'm inside, in our cozy living room, where the soft glow of a single lamp casts a warm, intimate light over everything. It's late, well past 10 p.m., and Harrison and I are nestled together on the couch, a worn blanket draped over our legs. The house is quiet, save for the faint tick of the old clock on the mantel, and there's a stillness that feels almost sacred, like the world outside has paused just for us. But beneath that calm, there's a flicker of unease stirring in me as I think back to what happened just a few moments ago. Harrison turned to me, his gray eyes catching the dim light, searching mine with an intensity I wasn't expecting. His voice was low, almost tentative, as he asked, "What would it feel like if I asked you to do something completely different? To trust me fully, to push the edge?" I remember the way my brow furrowed, confusion washing over me as I set down my tea on the little side table, the ceramic mug clinking softly against the wood. What on earth did he mean by that? My mind scrambled for context, for some hint of where this was coming from, but his words hung there, cryptic and heavy. I tilted my head, looking at him with a mix of curiosity and concern, and said, "Harrison, what are you talking about? Explain yourself." He didn't answer right away. Instead, he hesitated, his fingers fidgeting with the frayed edge of the blanket, a nervous habit I've seen 1,000 times over the years, but never quite like this. There was something different in the air, something charged, and I could feel my pulse quicken just a little as I watched him. Then, without a word, he reached into the pocket of his old cardigan and pulled out a folded piece of paper, a letter by the look of it. His hands trembled slightly as he held it out to me, and I couldn't help but notice the way his jaw tightened, like he was bracing himself for something. I took it from him, the paper feeling oddly heavy in my fingers, though it was just a single sheet, creased and worn at the edges, as if it had been handled over and over again. I didn't open it. Not yet. I just sat there, holding it, feeling the weight of his gaze on me, those gray eyes filled with a storm of emotions I couldn't quite read. My heart was racing now, a strange cocktail of curiosity and apprehension bubbling up inside me. What could possibly be in this letter to make Harrison, of all people, so on edge? This is a man who's faced down lecture halls full of skeptical students, who's debated ethics and history with a calm I've always envied. And yet here he was, looking at me like the next few moments could change everything. I turned the letter over in my hands, my thumb brushing against the rough edge of the fold, feeling the texture of the paper, as if it could somehow prepare me for what's inside. It's the next evening now, and I'm back in our living room, the same soft lamplight casting a golden hue over the familiar space. The clock on the mantel ticks on, relentless, as if it knows something I don't. I've been holding on to this letter for a full day, turning it over in my mind as much as in my hands, dreading what it might say, but unable to resist the pull of it any longer. My fingers tremble as I finally muster the courage to unfold it, the quiet rustle of paper sounding louder than it should in the stillness of the room. Harrison's neat handwriting stares back at me, each stroke deliberate, almost too precise, and I can feel my heart thudding in my chest as I begin to read. The words hit me like a wave, cold and unexpected. Harrison writes about Kieran, his old friend, the quiet man with the kind smile I've met only a few times. He tells me how Kieran's been struggling, reeling from a painful divorce that's left him hollowed out, searching for something to fill the void. My eyes scan the lines and then I see it. The proposal. Harrison, in an act of compassion and something deeper, something I can't quite name, reached out to Kieran with an idea, a suggestion that makes my breath catch in my throat. A night with me, Leona, but only if I wanted it, only if I agreed. The room seems to tilt around me, the edges blurring as my chest tightens, a vice grip of shock squeezing the air from my lungs. My hands shake so badly I nearly drop the letter, the paper crinkling under my grip as I try to steady myself. A night with me? What does that even mean? How could Harrison, the man I've built a life with, even think to suggest such a thing? I look up at him, my vision swimming for a moment before his face comes into focus. He's sitting there, just a few feet away on the couch, watching me silently. His expression is a mask of vulnerability, his gray eyes raw with trust and something else. Fear, maybe, or hope. I can't tell. I don't say a word. I can't. My mouth opens, but nothing comes out, and the silence stretches between us, heavy and suffocating for a full minute. It feels like an eternity, each tick of the clock a hammer against my thoughts. A storm rages inside me, shock, sharp and jagged, cuts through first, followed by confusion, a tangled mess of questions I don't know how to ask. There's a flicker of betrayal, too, hot and bitter. But beneath it all, there's something else, something I'm almost afraid to acknowledge. Curiosity. A strange, forbidden pull that I don't understand and don't want to face. Over the next week, I stay silent. I don't bring up the letter, and neither does Harrison. But it's there, always there, lurking in the corners of my mind like a shadow I can't shake. I wrestle with it in moments of solitude, trying to make sense of the chaos it's unleashed. I find myself walking alone in the park near our house, the crunch of gravel under my feet a steady rhythm as I replay the words in my head. The autumn leaves drift down around me, fiery reds and golds, and I wonder if this is a test of our trust, or some kind of gift I can't yet comprehend. At home, I pull out old photo albums, my fingers tracing over pictures of Harrison and me from years ago, laughing on a beach in Greece, bundled up in scarves in some snowy European town. I stare at those younger versions of us, searching for answers in their smiles, wondering if they'd ever imagined a moment like this. Each day the storm inside me shifts, the sharp edges of shock dulling into something more complex. I catch myself thinking about Kieran, about the quiet strength I remember in him, the way his eyes always seemed to hold a story he never told. I think about Harrison's heart, so vast and generous. Here I am, stepping out of Harrison's car into the cool evening air, the sky above a deep indigo, heavy with the promise of night. The rented cottage stands before me, a quaint little place nestled among tall pines that sway gently in the breeze, their needles whispering secrets I can't quite catch. The scent of earth and pine sap fills my lungs, grounding me even as my nerves jitter beneath my skin. I'm Leona, and right now, my heart is a drumbeat in my chest, loud and unsteady, as I prepare to face Kieran. There's a resoluteness in me, though, a stubborn determination to see this through, whatever it may bring. I've wrestled with Harrison's letter for days, and now, standing here, I'm still not sure what I'm walking into, but I know I can't turn back. Harrison lingers for a moment before he leaves, his hand warm as it presses the cottage keys into mine. His fingers brush against my palm, and he leans in close, his voice a low murmur that sends a shiver down my spine. "Be real," he whispers, and those two words land heavy, sinking into my chest like stones dropped into still water. They ripple through me, stirring up questions I don't have answers for. Be real? Does he mean with Kieran? With myself? With him? I don't know, but I feel the weight of his trust, the unspoken permission to explore whatever this night holds. I watch as he gives me a small, almost sad smile, then climbs back into the car. The engine hums to life, and the tail lights glow red as he drives away, leaving me alone on the gravel path, the crunch of my footsteps the only sound in the stillness. I clutch the keys tighter, the metal biting into my skin as I make my way to the cottage door. My heart is pounding so hard, I'm sure it'll echo through the trees, betraying every ounce of my uncertainty. The door creaks as I push it open, and a wave of warmth greets me, carrying the faint scent of wood smoke. I step inside, And there he is, Kieran, already here, sitting by a small fireplace that casts a golden flicker across the room. He looks up as I enter, and I take him in, really see him, maybe for the first time. He's tall, even seated, with broad shoulders that seem to carry an invisible burden. His salt and pepper hair catches the firelight, and his eyes, oh, those eyes, are kind, but there's a quiet sadness in them, a depth that speaks of years of unspoken pain. He stands, and there's an awkward moment where neither of us knows quite what to say. Leona, he finally manages, his voice soft but steady. And I nod, forcing a small smile as I reply, Kieran. Hi. He gestures toward a small table near the fire, where a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses sit waiting. Thought we might need this, he says with a faint chuckle, his movements deliberate and calm as he pours a glass and offers it to me. I take it, my fingers brushing the stem, and murmur a quiet thanks. We settle across from each other, the crackle of the fire filling the gaps in our silence. At first, the conversation is safe, almost mundane. We talk about the weather, how crisp the air is out here, how the pines seem to guard the cottage like silent sentinels. But as the minutes tick by, the tension that's been coiled tight in my shoulders begins to unravel, thread by thread. The wine helps, its warmth spreading through me, loosening my tongue. We drift into deeper waters, talking about loss, about the way life carves pieces out of you over time. I find myself sharing things I hadn't planned to, memories of moments when I felt adrift, even with Harrison by my side. Kieran listens, really listens, his gaze steady and unguarded, and I see a flicker of understanding there, a shared recognition of the weight we both carry. Then, there's a moment that catches me off guard. I'm telling a story about Harrison, something silly from years ago when he tried to fix Apollos. It's late now, well past midnight, and the cottage feels like a cocoon wrapped in the quiet of the night. The fire has burned low, casting flickering shadows on the rough-hewn walls, their dance a silent partner to the storm of emotions swirling inside me. I'm sitting closer to Kieran now, the space between us having shrunk over the hours, though I can't quite pinpoint when or how it happened. His hand rests near mine on the worn armrest of the chair, not touching, but close enough that I can feel the warmth of it, a quiet presence that both soothes and unsettles me. His gaze is steady, gentle, like a lighthouse in the fog of my thoughts, and I find myself caught in it, unable to look away. My voice, when I speak, is raw, stripped bare of the defenses I've clung to for so long. I'm Leona, 68 years old, and right now, I'm standing on the edge of something I never expected to face. Inside, I'm a mess of contradictions. The weight of 43 years with Harrison presses down on me, heavy with memories of laughter, arguments, quiet mornings spent sipping coffee in our garden. Those years are a tapestry, woven with threads of love and struggle, each stitch a testament to the life we've built. But here, in this moment, there's something else, a fleeting chance to feel something new, something I thought I'd long since buried under the routines of a lifetime. My heart aches with the pull of it, torn between loyalty to the past and this unexpected whisper of possibility. I've spent days wrestling with guilt, turning it over in my mind like a stone, examining every jagged edge. But now, as I sit here with Kieran, I'm starting to see it differently. This isn't betrayal. It's not a breaking of vows or a turning away from Harrison. No, It's something else entirely. A kind of freedom, a gift wrapped in trust, given to me by the man who knows me better than anyone. Harrison's words echo in my mind, that quiet murmur before he left me here. Be real. I think I'm beginning to understand what he meant. He's not asking me to abandon him. He's asking me to live fully in this moment, to honor the depth of what we share by trusting myself. I don't say any of this out loud. I can't, not yet. Instead, I let the silence speak for me, and Kieran seems to understand. He doesn't push, doesn't fill the quiet with empty words. His presence is like a mirror, reflecting parts of myself I'd forgotten, parts that used to dream without limits, that used to feel the world with a raw, unfiltered intensity. I've spent so many years being strong, being steady, being the woman Harrison needed me to be, the woman I thought I had to be. But sitting here, I feel a crack in that armor, a sliver of light breaking through. It's terrifying, but it's also exhilarating, like stepping into a cold stream after a long, hot day. I feel the weight of my own history lifting, just a little, and beneath it, there's a pulse of something I can only describe as life, vibrant, messy, and achingly real. We don't move closer, not physically. There's no need. Instead, we sit in that silence, just breathing together, the rhythm of it sinking in a way that feels almost sacred. The fire pops softly, a log shifting in the grate, and the sound grounds me, tethering me to this moment. I can hear the faint whistle of the wind outside, slipping through the pines, but in here, it's just us, just this fragile, fleeting connection. For the first time in years, I feel truly alive, not just existing, not just moving through the motions, but alive in a way that makes my chest ache with the beauty of it. It's not about what might happen next, or what this means for tomorrow. It's about now, about letting myself be here fully, without the weight of guilt or expectation dragging me down. I glance at Kieran, and there's a softness in his expression, a quiet acknowledgement of what statted. I'm standing in our kitchen now, the early morning light spilling through the window, painting the old wooden table in soft hues of gold and amber. The familiar scent of coffee lingers in the air, a ritual as old as our marriage, grounding me in this moment as I face Harrison. My steps are slow, deliberate, as I cross the tiled floor toward him, each one feeling heavier than the last. My breath is shallow, caught somewhere between the weight of what I've experienced and the tenderness of being back here, in our shared space. Harrison stands by the counter, his silhouette framed against the dawn, his gray eyes watching me with a quiet intensity. He doesn't ask what happened at the cottage with Kieran. He doesn't need to. There's an understanding in the way he looks at me, a depth that speaks louder than any question could. I stop just a step away from him, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from his familiar frame. Before I can find words, he moves, closing the distance between us, and pulls me into a tight embrace. His arms are strong, steady, wrapping around me like they've done 1,000 times before. But this time, there's something different, a raw, unspoken gratitude in the way he holds me. I press my face against his shoulder, breathing in the faint scent of his aftershave, the one I've teased him about for years because it's never changed. My heart, still unsteady from everything, finds a kind of anchor here, in the rhythm of his breathing, in the solid reality of him. Then, I feel his lips near my ear, his voice a soft whisper against my hair, carrying a warmth that melts something inside me. "You're even more beautiful than yesterday," he murmurs, his words slow and deliberate. "I feel it in you." Those words, they hit me like a gentle wave, washing over the lingering doubts and uncertainties. Tears prick at the corners of my eyes, not from sadness, but from a profound relief, a flood of love that surges through me, filling every crack and crevice that the past days had carved out. I don't pull away. I can't. I just stay there, held by him, letting the moment stretch on, letting it heal something I didn't even know was broken. There's no need for explanations, no need to dissect what happened or why. In this embrace, I feel the truth of us. 43 years of trust, of knowing each other down to the marrow, of loving in a way that doesn't always fit the mold, but fits us perfectly. Over the following weeks, I noticed the subtle shifts between us, the way we seemed to grow closer in ways I hadn't anticipated. It's in the small things at first, our hands brushing more often as we pass each other in the hallway, lingering just a second longer than they used to. It's in the way we sit at the kitchen table, sipping our morning coffee, and I catch him gazing at me, his eyes tracing the lines of my face as if he's seeing me for the first time. I find myself doing the same, studying the way the morning light catches the silver in his hair, the way his smile still carries that boyish charm I fell for all those years ago. There's a renewed tenderness in our touches, a quiet hunger to reconnect, to rediscover each other after this unexpected chapter. We talk more too, not about the cottage, not directly, but about everything else. Our conversations weaving through memories and dreams with a fresh kind of honesty. It's as if we've peeled back a layer, exposing something raw and real beneath the surface of our routine. I've had time to reflect on it all, to turn over the events in my mind like a well-worn book, reading between the lines of my own emotions. What happened wasn't betrayal. I know that now, deep in my bones. It wasn't a fracture in the foundation of what Harrison and I have built. Instead, it was permission. A permission to be alive, to feel the full spectrum of life, even at 68, even after decades of thinking I knew every corner of myself. It was a redefinition of trust, one that defies the ordinary rules, the neat little boxes society likes to place us in, allowing us to embrace the unpredictable beauty of our shared journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.